man, the disrespect towards my boy Jonas Vingegaard is embarrassing, and it has come from one person in particular and just leaves me shocked that somebody would actually go out there in a public way and actually say some of the things that he said after what happened this year. And the individual goes by, I'm probably going to butcher this pronunciation, so bear with me, Jose de Cauwers. I'm not sure, it's probably a far way off, but anyways, this individual said some of the most embarrassing things against Jonas that I've heard to date, and it just left me shocked, and I just had to do a video. I know I'm pretty late to the punch. This was a few weeks ago, but man, let's get into what he said and why, in my opinion, A, this guy is a douchebag, and B, it is just absolute nonsense. So this individual, whose name I probably butchered, sorry about that, went on to say that Jonas Vingegaard, or Vinigo, again, I'm an American, it's hard to properly sort of pronunciate European names, so if I mispronounce something, that is the reason. Apologize beforehand. So he went on to say that Jonas should never have won the Tour de France against Tadej Pogačar because he is, quote, not at his level. And I've always found this argument hilarious, this theoretical argument in terms of sports of what could have been, what should have been, who should have won, who shouldn't have won. And my response to this individual saying that is, what are you talking about? The beautiful thing about racing in particular, it's just numbers, it's objective. There's not some judge at the end scoring it like it is in freestyle BMX or skateboarding or some other sport where there's a degree of subjectivity. The beautiful thing about racing, and pretty much all racing, is it's objective. It comes down to numbers, who crossed the finish line first. Jonas Vingegaard beat Tadej Pogačar in the Tour de France twice. He shouldn't have beat him, he already did twice. And that's before we get into the even more unbelievable statement in reference to what happened this year, because this comes after the horrible crash that I was actually watching live in Tour of the Basque Country, where Jonas Vingegaard, in addition to Primož Roglič and Remco Evenepoel, among others, had a horrible high-speed crash going down a fast descent around the corner. I'm sure all of you saw it, and it was brutal. Jonas Vingegaard is a very lean individual, which means when he crashes, it's typically going to be bad. And it was a scary, scary moment. And the list of injuries was a broken collarbone, multiple broken ribs, a collapsed lung, and something called a pneumothorax. I don't even know what that is, but it was a bad crash. Jonas was in the hospital for quite some period of time. And I can tell you, the talk was not whether he was going to make the Tour de France. The talk was, how big of an impact is this going to have on his racing, on his speed, on his confidence, not just for the Tour de France, but here going forward. And so for Jonas Vingegaard to come from that, and I believe he did one race before the Tour de France, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on that, but for him to go through that, to show up at the Tour de France, which is an indication of how tough he is, because I can certainly tell you this, if I personally had that crash, I am not as tough as him. I would have gone, there is no way I'm doing a 21-day stage race when I'm far from my best. But that is the difference between elite athletes, is he went there, and after 21 days racing, the best of the best, 3 months ago, laying in the hospital room, he lost to Tadej Pogačar by 6 minutes and 17 seconds, beating out every other rider. When you look at this in relation to what the guy said, you go, A, just the classlessness to say something like that. And the B, just how absurdly nonsensical it is. There is no reason for him to be as competitive, as good as he was against a Tadej Pogačar that had an incredible season with no hiccups. It's pretty clearly that, okay, Jonas is not as good as a shorter distance spring classics one-day race as Tadej. He doesn't have that punchy power. That just is what it is. But when it comes to the Grand Tours, there's no arguing that Jonas Vingegaard is every bit the rider that Tadej Pogačar is. And I don't know how anybody doesn't look at this year's Tour de France as an indicator that I mean, I think you could make the argument that Jonas is the favorite for next year, and this isn't against Tadej Pogačar. He didn't have anything to do with this statement. This has nothing to do with him or Remco Evenepoel. This was just, I think he's an ex-racer, but I don't know how you don't watch this year's Tour de France and come away saying, not only is Jonas Vingegaard as tough as they come, but he is absolutely capable of beating a fully fit Tadej Pogačar. Anyways, that is kind of the summary, the wrap up. I just still find it just shocking how and why people would feel inclined to go out and say stuff like this. And it's just cringy. It's embarrassing. It's just, it just makes you look bad. And I'm sure it's not going to affect Jonas Vingegaard. I'm rooting for Jonas Vingegaard and Tadej Pogačar and Remco Evenepoel. It's like, everybody loves Tadej Pogačar, Jonas Vingegaard, Remco. Jonas Vingegaard is capable of beating Tadej in a Grand Tour. And I believe it's very possible that he does just that next year because he's already done it twice. So anyways, tell me what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. I know this is a moto channel. I don't really talk about road cycling, but I enjoy it. I'm passionate about it. And hopefully some of you also, participate and watch road cycling. Or if you're a new viewer to the channel, you haven't watched it, I talk about motocross, supercross, mountain biking. If it's two wheels, it's awesome. I'm a fan. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the video.